I'm here to review Fast X by myself. This film is directed by Louis Leterrier. It's being released courtesy of Universal Pictures on May 19th. The story: Dominic Toretto must protect his crew and family from Dante Reyes, the son of drug lord Hernan Reyes, seeking revenge for the loss of his family's fortune from the heist in Rio de Janeiro. So I know we've reviewed a Fast and Furious movie, and we've reviewed Hobbs and Shaw. I think I may have seen another Fast and Furious movie years ago. I couldn't tell you anything about any of them. Overall, I did find this movie entertaining enough, but there is a lot going on. I also didn't know when I sat down to watch the movie that this is part one of a two-part situation. So it definitely feels like it's setting up several storylines. It ends with all loose ends. So that was kind of a shock after sitting there for nearly 2.5 hours to just have the film end. But the story. So the Fast and Furious crew is back, living their best lives when they are about to go out on a mission to Rome. But this time Tyrese is going to lead the mission. Vin Diesel is going to stay home with his wife, Michelle Rodriguez, and their little son, who I think is named Little Brian. But we find out the mission in Rome is a trap set up by the bad guy played by Jason Momoa. And Jason Momoa's character is a flamboyant psychopath. And he's mad because 10 years prior, Vin Diesel and Paul Walker were on this mission in Brazil. And that's where they destroyed his family's fortune. But not only did they destroy their literal cash, they killed Jason Momoa's father inadvertently. So Jason Momoa has spent the last 10 years figuring out how to get revenge on the crew. So his plan is to not only kill Vin Diesel, but the entire crew and anyone who has ever helped them. How is he going to do that? He is going to steal technology from Charlize Theron that will allow for complete control of like all electronics and cellular stuff. I don't know. And he does so. So like right away at the beginning of the movie, he has taken this technology from Charlize Theron. So Charlize shows up at Vin Diesel's doorstep, bloodied and bruised, saying, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So I'm here to help you because if you don't stop Jason Momoa, he's going to like destroy the planet." So that's how Vin Diesel knows he needs to go to Rome. So what's happening in Rome is that Jason Momoa set it up so that a bomb will blow up the Vatican and the Fast and Furious crew will be blamed for it. The bomb does go off, but it doesn't destroy the Vatican completely. But now the Fast and Furious crew is being labeled as like a terrorist group, and Vin Diesel is terrorist number one. The agency, which is run by Mr. Nobody, Kurt Russell's character, he's not in the story anymore. He's not the leader of the agency. It's a guy played by Alan Richton. So when he sees that the Fast and Furious crew has done this terrorist act, he's saying that they need to be apprehended. So he spends the entire movie trying to capture them. But everything culminates with Jason Momoa. He's captured Vin Diesel's son, so of course that lures Vin Diesel to him, and they have a final showdown, but both are able to escape. So Jason Momoa runs off and Vin Diesel runs off. The end. So it's all setting, I guess it's setting itself up for the next film. Okay, going through my notes. So this movie has a huge budget. It looks like it. It looks great. The action sequences are really impressive. Although some of the CGI looked a little cartoonish to me. And this movie has so many locations. We're in Rio de Janeiro, Los Angeles, Rome, Naples, London, Antarctica, and Portugal. So I felt like my head was spinning. So some other storylines. When Charlize shows up to Vin Diesel's house to give her this information, of course he has her apprehended. So the agency has taken her. And then when Alan Richton's character is trying to get the Fast and Furious crew, they do apprehend Michelle Rodriguez. So Michelle Rodriguez and Charlize Theron are being held in the same like prison that's like in this undisclosed location. Kurt Russell's daughter, Brie Larson, she's trying to appeal to Alan Richton's character, saying like, you have to support the crew. They would never do something like this. But he says no. So she has a plan to help Michelle break out of the prison. So she and Charlize do break out of the prison and just walk away. Then we have John Cena in the movie. He is Vin Diesel's brother, and he's used to help rescue little Brian. And he does. But in the final scene where Jason Momoa is attempting to kill Vin Diesel and the little boy, John Cena basically like executes a suicide mission to save the boy. So his character dies. Jason Statham is in the movie. Because Jason Momoa has the technology to control all electronics, he is able to like steal all of the crew's assets. So they need equipment and technology. So they go to Jason Statham. And he agrees to help them because he sees that part of Jason Momoa's kill list is Helen Mirren, Jason Statham's mom. So he helps them. And then the post-credit scene is Jason Momoa's character sending a message to Dwayne Johnson, who is either Hobbs or Shaw, telling him that, you know, he's going to come after him as well. Man, so I know that these films are considered, like, people like them because they're so ridiculous with these extended action sequences. So I thought it might be a good start to go through these crazy ass scenes. So when Vin Diesel and Paul Walker are in Brazil 10 years earlier, the way they steal Jason Momoa's family fortune is they have all of this cash in a bank vault, in a building, like in a concrete building. There's this huge steel metal vault. And Vin Diesel and Paul Walker remove the vault by dragging it out with 2 Dodge Challengers, which was insane. And then there's a chase sequence with these 2 cars dragging this huge vault. Then we get to Rome, and the bomb Jason Momoa is going to use to blow up the Vatican is this big ball that's like rolling through the streets of Rome for like 10 minutes. At one point, the bomb is on fire, dropping off buildings. It never explodes, obviously. But then, as the bomb is getting to the Vatican, it has to cross a bridge over a river. And they understand that if they can get the bomb into the water, that would lessen the explosion. So how are they going to do that? There is a huge construction crane on the bridge, and Vin Diesel launches his car into the air, hits the crane swings like a bat, hits the bomb, and that's what propels the bomb into the river. So John Cena, when he shows up to Vin Diesel's house to rescue little Brian, there's like, the agency has its men there. And at one point, John Cena is on the 2nd floor of this house. He takes a guy and body slams the guy through the floor, and that guy lands on the 2nd floor. Then John Cena absconds with little Brian to Portugal, I believe. And at a point, they have to get off of the plane. So they do so by, like, they have brought a canoe onto the plane. So they open up the hatch, like at the belly of the plane, and drop out of the plane in like a canoe that has wings. At one point, Vin Diesel is fighting Jason Momoa on a bridge, and there is a car that's been flipped over, and Vin Diesel picks up this car to flip it back over. Then, towards the end, when Jason Momoa has taken Vin Diesel's son, they're like sort of driving parallel on this road, and Vin Diesel executes a move where like he hits Jason Momoa's car and they both go spinning, and the little boy flies out of Jason Momoa's car into Vin Diesel's car. the final showdown, they're on a dam, like a river dam. And Jason was going to kill Vin Diesel and his son by having like two semi trucks filled with gasoline, like ram into their car on the top of this dam. But to avoid getting hit, Vin Diesel drives his car down the dam as it's like exploding from the gasoline from these two tankers. And then when Michelle Rodriguez and Charlize Theron escape the prison, we find out that that prison is in Antarctica. So when they get out, they're like literally just on this glacier. And as they're just walking, a submarine pops out of the ice and Wonder Woman is in it. So I guess like she's gonna rescue them. Yeah. It's crazy. Okay, more notes. So I think for sure my favorite part of the film is Jason Momoa. He is so extra flamboyant. And my favorite scene in the film is there's a point where Jason Momoa is sitting with like 2 or 3 people. And initially you think it's just like 2 or 3 guys. And Jason Momoa is very flamboyant. Like he wears nail polish, he dresses in more like feminine clothing. He has his hair in pigtails with ribbons. And he's painting one of the guy's toenails. But then we quickly realize that those men sitting by him are corpses. And he's done them up in a really funny way. I thought they paint him as a macabre psychopath. And I think it is so effective. I also really liked Alan Richson as the leader of the agency. I thought he was really charismatic. And John Cena is always so cute. So I think when you have those 3 actors, and then to me the worst part of the film is Vin Diesel. He is so just one note and that really deep voice that's monotone and it just is so, when he's on screen I just check out. And then when he's next to these other 3 actors who are so fun, I just feel like we don't need him. I also thought his makeup, especially in the flashback scene to Brazil 10 years prior, was very interesting. He is heavily painted. It also looks like maybe they tried to like put white liner on the inside of his eyes. I'm assuming to open up his eye and make him look younger. But he looked crazy. I didn't realize Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez were married. So that's an interesting relationship. The scene where Jason Momoa essentially like hijacks Charlize Theron to get the equipment, I thought was really good. It's a good action sequence. I also really like Charlize's hair because I know I've seen photos of her from other Fast and Furious movies where she had questionable hair that was like braided and locked. So I was very happy to see her with the cute bob with some beach waves. Okay, so when Tyrese leads the mission to Rome, we find out that he needs a gold Lamborghini. So of course it's like, why does he need a gold Lamborghini? And I'm so confused by it still because all the gold Lamborghini does is at one point, it seems like he needed it because it will reflect the sunlight to blind the drivers of the bomb. But I don't understand why he needed that because prior to him doing that, they put tear gas in the van that's driving the bomb. So the drivers of the bomb are unconscious at the point that Tyrese blinds them with the gold Lamborghini. So that didn't make any sense to me. Another really good scene is when Alan Richson's character is confronted by Brie Larson. He's explaining to her, so he's standing in a room with a bunch of monitors, and he begins to explain to her effectively all of the Fast and Furious movies, which I thought was very helpful for someone like me who's really not privy to the universe. I thought it was well done. I also liked that this film felt more self-aware because in that scene, Alan Richson's character is saying that this crew defies all rules of logic and physics. So I appreciated that. Okay, there are 2 interesting hair situations, one of which will certainly be on my nominee list for worst hair of 2023. So first, Michelle Rodriguez, her hair texture is like curly, wavy, and she has it in like it's a little mullety with bangs, but it looks okay. But then when she's in the prison, the plan to help her escape, Brie Larson's plan, is she stabs Michelle Rodriguez like in the shoulder so that she can go to like the medic area. So we see that Michelle Rodriguez has had surgery and she's laying on the hospital bed tied down. And when she gets up, her hair looks like, because she has one of those like quote unquote 2-layer haircuts. So it's like the top part is like a bowl and then she has like a party in the back. It looks like the back of her hair is still wavy, but the entire top section has been blown out. So she looks like a jellyfish. I don't understand how she got a blowout during surgery locked up in prison. There's also this situation with like this diamond pendant cross that keeps getting handed. Like it gets handed to like 4 characters, and there's a lot of talk about having faith. And then of course, I mean, I know the joke with at least Vin Diesel's characters, it's always about family. So, I mean, you could have a very serious drinking game every time someone mentions family or they mention that damn cross and their faith. Okay. I liked Alan Richton, that actor playing this character, but his tanning situation and the bronzer, I don't know what's going on. And I would love for people to comment, but he is fully doing blackface. Speaking to how this film felt long, there were 2 scenes I don't think we needed at all. One of them is when Michelle Rodriguez and Charlize Theron are in this prison trying to escape. We get like a 5-minute fight sequence between the 2 of them, just because. Like literally Michelle Rodriguez's character says like just because I have the opportunity, I'm gonna whoop your ass. So they get into this long fight, which wasn't that engaging, and just really felt like we were delaying the inevitable, which is them escaping the prison. But the scene we really, really didn't need is when the crew realizes they don't have any money or equipment. The tech lady, the British lady, she says, oh, I know a place. And so they end up going to like an internet cafe in downtown London, which is owned and operated by Pete Davidson, who I found annoying. And then they have this long scene where they're acting up in the cafe just to ultimately have Pete Davidson like snitch on them because there's a huge reward for them. So they never end up getting the equipment, and the crew never gets apprehended by the agency. So that felt like 9 minutes we did not need. But the worst hair nominee is going to the little boy. I think his name is Leo Abello Perry. So throughout the entire film, his hair looks fantastic. He has beautiful curly hair, beautiful haircut. It's perfect. But at the very end, on the dam, the river dam, where Jason Momoa is trying to kill them, and Vin Diesel drives off the dam, he ends up at the bottom, and they submerge into water. And child, when that little boy gets out of the water, the wig they put on him. When I used to teach cosmetology, the school I taught at, the students had to purchase a kit, and the kit included 7 mannequin heads of all different textures, colors, and lengths. And one of the dolls was the black doll named Dion. And Dion's hair was like yak hair that they permed to make it look like coiled and textured, but it really wasn't what they needed. But anyway, it looked like someone took the Dion hair and made a wig for this little boy. It's horrible. I hope I can find a picture of it. But ultimately, I thought the movie felt long. There's no resolution because it is part 1 of a 2-part thing. So when it ended, it felt very abrupt. But I think impressive, silly action sequences. The film looks good. There are some really fun performances. Jason Momoa takes the cake. So for those reasons, I would give this film 2.5 out of 5. Hit the thanks button. Listen to our podcast. Bye.